Hey y'all, it's Miss A. Today we're going to be looking at word problems, and we're actually going to be solving ratio and rate problems. So solving proportions like we did yesterday with cross multiplying or dividing. We sometimes will even find a relationship going across to make it a little bit more easy. But anyway, so we're going to have to come up with the proportions today ourselves from the word problem and figure out how to solve it. Okay. Remember that y'all do have a copy of this available to you on Canvas, so you can access it and print it if you do have that capability at home. But let's get started. I'm going to zoom in a little bit because this first problem is kind of small. See if I can focus. There we go. Okay, so number 1 says the table below shows the cost of fiction books at a used bookstore. The cost per book is constant for the fiction books. So we know that 2 books cost $3, 4 cost $6, 6 cost $9. We don't know how many books are going to cost $30. It says, which is the best prediction of the number of fiction books that you can buy for $30? So what we're going to do is we are going to come up with a proportion, okay? First thing we need to know is what is a rate that we know? We know that this many cost this much. And what's nice is we actually have a lot to choose from. We have 2 cost 33, 4 cost 6, 6 cost 9. We can choose any of those. If I were you, I would pick the smallest numbers. That's what I would do. So I'm going to write a proportion or a rate right now as a fraction for 2 books cost $3. So I'm going to put 2 and 3. And then over here, I'm going to put what those words are representing. 2 books, $3. I always want to put my words here to the side so I know what those numbers going across are always referring to. So 2 books, $3. The question wants to know how many books we can buy if we spend $30. So 30 represents dollars, so I'm not going to put it with books, I'm going to put it with the dollars. So I'm going to put right here, 30. And this is where my variable is. This is what I'm solving for. Okay, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. Sorry, guys. All right, so now we have our proportion. This is what we were given yesterday. 2/3 equals x over 30, and we had to cross multiply and divide to figure out the value of x. So I'm going to show you that way, and I'm going to show you the way that might be a little bit easier for some of you. But the cross multiply and divide works every single time, no matter what the proportion is. So let's do that way first. So I'm going to cross multiply. Remember, I like to circle the 2 that I'm multiplying, so I know that I multiplied those 2. So I'm going to multiply 30 times 2, and I get 60. And then I'm going to take that number, and I'm going to divide it by the lonely guy that I didn't circle, which in this case is 3. So again, 30 times 2 got me 60. Then I'm going to divide that answer by 3. I know that 3 goes into 6 2 times, which is 6. Subtract, I get 0. But my answer is not 2 because I still have a 0 here left. So I'm going to bring it down. 3 cannot go into 0, so I put a 0. So my answer is x equals 20, and that was representing books. That's what we're solving for, so the correct answer is C. Now, another thing you could have done, which we did last week when we were doing the ratio tables, is we could try to find a relationship going across. I can actually get from 3 to 30 by multiplying by 10. So 3 times 10 got me 30. All I would have to do up here is multiply by 10, and I would have gotten my answer of 20. 2 times 10 equals 20. So it's 2 different ways you could have solved it. You can totally choose which way you like best. Like I said, the cross multiply and divide works every single time because there might not always be a relationship here for you to find, or it might be hard for you to see it. So you choose the way you want, but remember, you might have to cross multiply and divide if there is no relationship. All right, let's look at the second one. Number 2, in Whitney's math class, sorry guys, trying to straighten it back out. In Whitney's math class, there are 4 girls for every 5 boys. There are 36 students in the class. How many are girls? Okay, so this one is actually a little bit tricky because if we look here, we've got 4 girls and 5 boys. And then it goes on to say there are 36 students in the classroom. Students are girls and boys together, not separated. Okay, so they gave me a ratio of part to part being girls and the other part being boys. but they're actually wanting me to include that whole of students. So if there are 4 boys and 4 girls and 9, I'm going to be able to talk here in a second. Just give me a second. If there are 4 girls and 5 boys, then there are 9 total students. Okay, so we need to know that because this one right here was telling me 36 total. But this ratio is comparing it to 9. We want to know how many are girls. Okay, so we're focusing on the girls. The boys I don't really need anymore. I don't need to know how many boys there are because now I know there's 9 total. I needed it to find it, but I don't need it for the problem. So the ratio that I know is there are 4 girls out of 9. So 4 out of 9. And I know that 4 represents girls. And then 9 represents total. And then now I can put this number 36. It says 36 students. Doesn't say 36 girls, so the 36 goes down here with students. So again, this 9 was not given to me. I had to add to figure out what that number was. Okay, I had to add my 2 parts to get a whole. All right, now I can cross multiply and divide to solve for my missing value. I'm solving for how many girls. The question says how many girls. My X is with girls. So I can cross multiply here and then divide by 9. So let's do that. Let's do 36 times 4 over here first. 36 times 4, I get 24. That's 12 plus 2 is 14. 144 divide by 9. So when it comes to division, some of y'all really need to rely on this, and that's okay. That, we're learning. If you don't know them, this is a good resource. 9 cannot go into 1, but 9 can go into 14. So remember, we're looking for 14 without going over in the 9 column. So we go to the 9, looking for 14. Oh, that's too big, so it only goes in once, which is 9. Again, hopefully you don't need that, but if you do, it's okay. And then I can subtract 14 minus 9, and I get 5. And then I can bring down my 4. And now we're looking at how many times 9 goes into 54. So we're going to go to the 9 column, look for 54 without going over. Here's 9. There's 54 exactly, so it goes in 6 times. 6 times, which is 54. Subtract, you get 0. So the answer is 16 girls. Now, just like before, I said sometimes there is a relationship, which in this case there actually was. I can get from 9 to 36 by multiplying by 4. 9 times 4 is 36. So I would have to do 4 times 4, keep this equivalent, multiply by the same factor. 4 times 4 would get me my answer of 16. So, either way, but cross multiply and divide, y'all did find really easy yesterday. So some of y'all are going to want to use that one. All right, number 3, last one we're going to do together, then y'all going to do the last one on your own. It says a clothing company uses 200 buttons to make 50 shirts. At this rate, that means it's going to be consistent. For every time they make 50 shirts, they're going to use 200 buttons. How many buttons would the clothing company use to make 350 shirts? Okay, so our ratio that we know is that 200 buttons are used for 50. So 250 is my ratio that I know. And I'm going to put words with it. 200 buttons, 50 shirts. So there's my words that go with my ratio. And then I need to put that 350 somewhere. So 350 represents shirts. Shirts are at the bottom. So 350 goes here. And I'm solving for X. All right, so this is a very big problem. The numbers are very large. But that's okay. There's a lot of zeros, so it makes it a little bit easier. One thing I would do first, before I cross multiply or before I try to find a relationship going across, this is a fraction. And this fraction can be simplified and it stay equivalent. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually reduce by crossing off these zeros right here. That's the same thing as dividing by 10. Okay, 200 divided by 10 is 20. 50 divided by 10 is 5. Okay, that's an easy thing you can do when they both end in a 0. And now, actually, I can see a relationship here. I know if that was 35 for a second, I know that 5 times 7 is 35, but 5 times 7 is not going to get me 350, so I just add a 0. And then I can do the same exact thing up here at the top, times 70, and I'll get my answer. So I'm going to do 70 times 20. Have y'all seen this little trick before, where you knock off the 0? So that 0 just comes down right here, and then I do 2 times 0 is 0, and 2 times 7 is 14. So my answer is actually, we're going to use 1,400 buttons. A lot of buttons. Again, you would have gotten the same answer if you had multiplied and then divided by 50. Alright guys, I want y'all to pause the video for this last one. I want y'all to set it up, at least try to set it up on your own. Hopefully you can solve it. See how well y'all do, and then hop back on whenever you're done and see how you did. Okay? So go ahead and pause the video now and work it out on your own. See you in a minute. Alright guys, hopefully y'all have it done. At least y'all were hopefully able to set it up. We'll see how y'all did. So it says sea turtles made, a sea turtle made 460 dives in 12 hours. At this rate, how many dives did the sea turtle make in 3 hours? Alright, so the rate I know is 460 in 12, 460 being the dives, and 12 being the hours. So dives and hours. And then the last number they gave me was 3, and it represents hours. So I'm actually going to put it here at the bottom. Okay, because 3 represented hours. I'm going to solve for x. One thing I could do is cross multiply those two, 460 times 3, and then divide by 12. But actually the way I'm going to solve it is I can see that I can get here by dividing by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So I'm going to do the same thing here. 460 divided by 4, and that will get me my answer. 460 divided by 4. 4 goes into 4 one time. 4 goes into 6 one time. Bring down my 0. And 4 goes into 25 times. Ooh, right out of space. Just enough space I need. So the answer is 115. X was on top, so it's dives. 115 dives. Again, you would have gotten the same answer if you took 460 times 3 and then divided by 12. Same answer would have been there at the end. If y'all have any questions or you found yourself struggling to understand this concept, guys, please, please, please contact me on Zoom, okay? I'm available all day during the school day. Hop on if you want me to go over anything with you, if you have any questions. If you haven't done so already, guys, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, and press that bell to get notifications every time I post a new video. Y'all have a great day, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye, guys.